Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV there o say dem yopo.
More call by the PENDREAM TV, so make sure to subscribe to channel. No click a bell, no so say the news to our subject me can in terms of tea. Jonnie Hughes our TV 3 FM. And then you want to be a money Bawumia papa and some ketua. Now it's possible Bawumia near my time or position or keka and they say there was a keka and there were. Na sema waka osi superior process Bawumia with dignity behind say by now apologize to Ghanaians and Ghana for nyina isan say sema Bawumia time or mo pa onya okeka and sa radio mo betra so there wa beye nyina kire say Bawumia di Ghana for hwamo pa de adwen de agranti say or dignity bia say obepa Ghana for acho say ne waka no na won tena konya ne so da na amra betena konya so ene man koyin sre Ghana for monfa ne bone nche no na saa ne oye no NCBO na we na ama Jonnie Hughes aba bontin ekuso a waka kire Bawumia say because Bawumia during campaign for mo part for elections can say bebra ka ho bi no mo ka say mo government will never take Ghana to IMF. Men kasa bebre yan kone kuti yesede Jonnie kasa.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Jonnie's Bite. It's Tuesday. Yesterday it rained, and as usual, the stories remain the same. It appears that we do not learn. That's what it is. It appears that we do not learn. And you know, the conversation about galamseyers, one of my big uncles called me, sent me a message actually. And I won't say who he is because of the victimization culture that we have in this country. He was asking me why we still make a big fat news out of people who die in galamsey pits. Because naturally, they cause us more pain than the pain that they have gone through. The pathologist in the Ashanti region is telling us about the fact that children are now being born, some without limbs, some without ears, and all of those strange features. All because there's galamsey. Now, if somebody or some set of people have caused us so much pain, we're drinking heavy metals and all manner of chemicals, and it's hurting our kidneys and our liver and other organs within our body, and they die. God kills them. Why must it be big news? So he was asking me, and I was thinking, well, that could be a strong point. But just that's by the way this morning. But this morning I've come to remind you of something that happened a few months ago when we were told boldly by the government that we will not go to the IMF. It appears that now the IMF cash is coming. The first tranche is coming this week, we are told. And so everybody seems to have forgotten that there's a fundamental question that must be asked. We are all jubilating. Never mind that we said that we will not go to the IMF, and that anybody who suggests that we should go to the IMF are naysayers. Never mind that we told the people of Ghana that with the imposition of the e-levy, everything will be fine. Never mind that since we've been to the IMF, nobody in government has had the dignity and decency to apologize to the people of Ghana. Because it was even said on the floor of parliament that we won't go to IMF. And that if we go to IMF, it will be the small boys that will be sent to us. All those things were said. Never mind that each time you ask the government why we are the IMF, they give you reasons like COVID and Russia and Ukraine and the opposition. It is never the fault of government that we are the IMF. But let me take you back to 2015, 24th March. The vice president, then candidate, who is now the head of our economic management team, he put on his Twitter page, he said, Mr. Chairman, the IMF bailout was totally avoidable if the government had listened to sound advice from many quarters much earlier. But government refused to listen. Put that up, please. Put that up. Put it up. They believed in their own propaganda and said, Yentiobia, we won't listen to anyone. When government was cautioned about the scale of borrowing, the government responded that they would borrow more. Now that their propaganda has been exposed by economic reality, they are now forced to listen to the IMF. We have moved from Yentiobia to Yebetie IMF in Kwa. We will listen to IMF only. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, IMF bailout, will the anchor hold? Distinguished Speaker series, right? And this was on the 24th of March 2015. This morning I'm asking, on the back of this one, there was another when the NDC had taken Ghana to the IMF. The same Dr. Bawumia, he spoke to a journalist. Listen to him.
This is why we got into the IMF. You were spending too much relative to revenues, which is true. You were borrowing too much, which is true. Your external payments position has deteriorated, which is true. And so you ended up, your growth is reducing, which is true. So you ended up at the IMF. And the IMF would impose certain conditions, which is true. And if you don't do certain things right, the anchor will not hold, which is true. So I'm not quite sure what it is that is not true that I said. But I think, unfortunately, the supporters of this government and this government itself are very reluctant to admit the truth, even when it hits them in the face. Yeah.
True. Thank you.
That was the vice president, or candidate then, now vice president. You see the things he listed. He spoke about the government of the day then. And I'm saying up until now, not the vice president, not the finance minister, not the president, none of the party communicators, not anybody at the finance ministry, none of the members of the economic management team has had the dignity to apologize to us. Now, somebody would say that, oh, the government has admitted that we are in a certain hole. Agreed. Even that it took time before the government agreed that we were in a certain hole. But admitting that we are in a hole and not admitting that you are part of the problem is in itself a problem, because you don't see the problem to be able to fix the problem. That was Vice President Bawumia in opposition. With the benefit of power, what did he say? Listen.
Note that Ghana has been hit with a quadruple whammy. A quadruple whammy. The energy sector excess capacity payments, banking sector cleanup, COVID-19, and the Russia-Ukraine war. We have been hit by this quadruple whammy. And I say again that if you take out the fiscal impact of this quadruple whammy, Ghana will not be going to the IMF for support, because our fiscal and debt and balance of payments outlook would be sustainable. Of the four factors, COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war, were external, and the other two, the banking sector cleanup and the excess capacity payments, were the result of policies of the previous government.
So again, we're blaming the previous government, even when
Inti yati nsema ya Jonnie kan ujina so de keka bichire ye omampanyini badi achire Mahmoud Bawumia na chese odika, because Bawumia yo bi atama omo opposition wakasa pa ye Twitter pa ye ni Twitter Jonnie Hughes 2015 okaimi tie no about the time ana John Mahama NDC abayote so eko IMF wakase because Omutu Mahama aban for manfa ama Mahama aban ka se Ethiopia eno na de Ghana eko IMF ti omo de so omo be enya kwan be manage oman ye tena akonya yesu IMF pa de Ghana yonko bida na de na yehui na no na ama Jonnie Hughes ejina so ka se nka Bawumia o dignity bi aka se by now obunkoto je no pa Ghana for acho se ne o kai no nyesa no hu no Tigana for a fan channel. Can you say osatimi enya vim so contest for impo flag bearership umpo asaba abe pray for election. Isan se niama bebre ya Bawumia kan nyina enye no kure see Obetena so as vice president and head of economic management team, who is basically in charge of the economy because he is the economist. That's why Nana Addo appointing as vice president said they be one economic side sector. No, then so what are we seeing? He has failed woefully. Still, this man get the guts to be talking in this country and trying to win elections in this same country again. So I think I will agree with Jonnie Hughes. Say enka Bawumia ewo dignity bi. I'm not sure say enka say impo at this moment or contest for elections impo ewo Ghana say. But the base ya na majo adwenture comment section.